Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Influence Economy. I am your host, Shayna Davis, and I am so glad that you're here today. But before we get started, I would love if you would do me a favor. So, wherever it is that you're listening to this episode, I want you to take a screenshot. And with that screenshot, I want you to post it on social media, tag us here at Shayna Rattler Davis, and then I just want to hear your biggest aha moment or your biggest takeaway from this episode. Why do I do that? I don't do it so much for the downloads, although those are great. However, there are far too many women who are seen and not paid, and they just don't know what to do to change that. And so, the more times that these episodes are shared, the more times they can be exposed to the strategies that are going to help them shift out of that and into something more profitable. So, thank you in advance for being willing to do that. I am going to read my guest bio, and then I hope y'all got your paper, your pens, your seat belts, something to throw. Because when I tell y'all this is going to be good, it's going to be good. So here we go. My guest today is a reinvention strategist and faith and business mentor to high income earning women ready to make and reach even more. As a serial entrepreneur, TV personality, creator of the Godfidence movement, and founder of She Profits, she helps women turn ideas into income and faith into action. She's a former pro sports attorney, Miss America finalist, and NBC apprentice who left her stuffy law firm job and turned her passion for people into a multi-million dollar enterprise. Her expertise is in helping wealthy and wealth building women to craft and sell high end offers, close mass market brand deals and corporate contracts, and to uplevel their visibility so they can experience life changing, elegant income. Featured regularly on CNN, Fox Business, and ESPN, her client roster includes, here you go, you guys, Accenture, HP, Home Depot, EY, Delta, Tiffany and Company, Nike, Rolls-Royce, and NFL and NBA athletes. She's passionate about supernatural success, purpose, futuristic thinking, cryptocurrency, motherhood, and traveling the globe with her husband, Jack. Her greatest joy is becoming a mother at 40 to triplet girls in the middle of a pandemic. You call her coach, you call her mentor. Actually, you can't do that yet. That's what I call her. I call her coach, I call her mentor, I call her friend, but you guys can call her Marshawn Evans Daniels. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Could we just like walk around the world together? I would love
Yes.
that intro.
Yes.
Uh, that's how you do it. I'm already taking notes because you said more women need to be seen. There's too many women who are seen and not paid.
Yeah.
Oh, this is about to be real good. She's dropping bars before we've even started.
Before we even get started, that's how we do it over here in the influence economy. So I am really excited about this. So for those of you that are listening right now, Marshawn has been my coach and my mentor since 2012. At the time of this recording, it's 2025. So that's a long time that I've been rocking with your girl. And so I'm so grateful for her knowledge and her advice. And I'm really excited for her to share with you all of exactly how you can help to be successful in what I call the influence economy, which is where your visibility intersects where your visibility intersects with intention so that you really can not only have elevated income, but you can also shape your industry and just have dramatic results. So, Marshawn, before we get started, I would love if you would share when people heard your bio, like she's a reinvention strategist, like what is a reinvention strategist? Let's start there.
That's a great question. So I believe that reinvention is not about changing who you are. It's about changing what you do so you can be who you are. And if someone were to look at my life, they would say I was unfocused. And I believe that I have been on mission and that many of us overstay a season that we're not supposed to be in. And I feel like I have just moved when God has told me to, and it's resulted in great opportunity to be able to experience the favor that you have. You have to be willing to leave behind where you've been.
Yeah.
And it's enabled me to build a multi-million-dollar company, to meet women like you. I was very humbled because I do look at you as a friend. I say this all the time when I talk about you. You stood by me. We stood by each other when our fathers passed away.
Yeah.
We've been engaged in life in a way that is not transactional. So it's a joy to be here. And for me professionally, that's my ethos around reinvention. But my goal is to help women radically change their lives, to experience life-changing income, but to walk with the level of faith that makes that possible. And so my work over the last, I got my hair colored the other day, so no one knows this exactly, but I've been in this space on this side of this type of business for 14 years, and 15 years will be this year. And I have helped women to redo their brand, to expand their platform, to increase their income, to upgrade their offers, to upgrade literally everything. That requires being willing to dare to reinvent. And so um, I'll say one other thing. Where that came from, though, was from a place of devastation.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, I just called this wedding off. I was engaged to be married. I'm about to be married. It's 6 days before the wedding. I call it off. And after I did, I was going through doing some speaking engagements, even mutual friends, Doreen Rainey, her event. I didn't know what coaching was when I was asked to be a keynote speaker at her event. And I was on stage and I said, um, reinvention is not about changing who you are. It's about changing what you do so you can be who you are. When I was on the flight headed home with my friend Valerie Burton, who you also know, who's written a bazillion books now. We've been friends since I was 17. I said, Val, I think I'm going to focus on reinvention. So this wasn't something, this sometimes God just gives you something and you grow into it. And I feel like I've grown into it.
Yeah. And so often, what we go through kind of forces us into reinvention. And so, can you talk about? I believe I know how you would answer this question, but the audience has not known you since 2012. And so, can you think about a specific moment in your life that where reinvention really like drastically, uh,
Mm.
I'm going to say, changed your path and opened doors to greater influence?
Wow. There's been a lot of moments of making decisions that were crossroad moments for sure. I think one big one for me was actually when I was deciding whether to go to law school. So I came from a nonprofit and government background. I've been speaking on stages since I was about 12 or 13 years old. And my focus at the time was helping with youth crime prevention and leadership development. I was very active in that. So I had made this decision of who I was going to be at around 14, 15, because I got into this flow. And many of us, when it's in school or careers, we pick this lane and then we start doing everything to make this vision of what we see possible. I wanted to be a lawyer because I saw Claire Huxtable on television. That was, and then when I got exposed to helping young people doing advocacy on the Hill, started traveling around the country and the world with the Justice Department and doing all this work with the State Bar of Texas. Like, this is what I want to do. And I was speaking 70 to 100 times a year as a teenager. I was traveling by myself without my parents. I'm like, okay, and it was when I couldn't go with them everywhere. So then I get to this point where I'm graduating from TCU, and I have an opportunity either to go to the Justice Department and take a fellowship at like a GS 15 or 14. And my parents were both government workers, so I know that's a very big deal. That's a level you get to after a long career. Or to go to law school, or to go to New York to be an actress. Most people don't know that part, that I had this opportunity. I had
I've
done
never heard that.
No one's heard it. I had this opportunity to go to New York. I had done this dry audition, and someone's like, you should really be here acting. And I get this call. He's like, can you come? And I was like, I'm in Atlanta. He goes, this is going to be difficult for you. He's got the talent, but what do you want to do? So I had to choose, do I go to take this Justice Department opportunity? Do I go and become an actress? It was for soaps. Can you imagine me on soaps?
I actually can.
I am dramatic. Thanks for affirming that. But then I chose law school, and who became my spiritual big sisters, they were like, I don't see you as a lawyer.
Mm,
And it wasn't that they were wrong, because I don't practice law now, but it didn't mean that it wasn't this path that I was supposed to take.
yeah.
I think that was a really big one for me. And my dad even challenged me. He's like, look, if you go to Georgetown, because I'd gone to Georgetown and I gotten into Georgetown and University of Texas as the two that I waitlisted at, because I'd been at Miss America and won Miss DC. So I needed to finish my year as DC. So I waitlisted, and I was like, man, what do I do? And my dad's like, if you go to Georgetown, we can't pay for that. You have to pay
Right.
for your own. You have a full scholarship to Texas, and you've got scholarship money. You're going to make money. You could start your life ahead. And I went to the place where I had nothing, no
Mm,
support, no. I ended up graduating debt free. And that was probably the biggest, I won't call it necessarily reinvention. I would call it separation from what made sense. And that's the key to reinvention is
Yeah.
even my dad was like, you could be close to home and the rent is free. And I said, you didn't raise me to stay here.
Yeah.
And it would have made sense. But for me, going to DC was me breaking up with my comfort zone in Texas. And I think that's what has enabled me to look at calling and mission and even influence as you may be born somewhere, but you're born for the four corners of this world. Um, and so that probably was the biggest separation from protocol, parents, degrees of what would make sense, what advisors were telling me. And that
What's safe?
now I think it's important to not be addicted to your past if you want to step into your future.
Yeah. I typically don't get into strategy until after the break, but strategy is like in your veins. So I would be remiss if I just didn't jump straight to some strategy with you. So I really believe that every woman who has a message should have a podcast.
Mm,
But a podcast without a business model is really just a hobby.
yeah.
And you know this because you helped me build this, but I believe that you should use your podcast as a magnet for better clients, bigger opportunities, greater exposure to attract what I call the high five. That's corporate contracts, sponsorships, major media appearances, high paid speaking gigs, and book deals. Because
Hmm.
it's really that, and I'm going to use some of the language that you gave me, coach. It's really that ecosystem
Yeah.
around your podcast that elevates your income. And so, for many of the women that are listening right now, just that thought alone or just that concept alone could be a level of reinvention in and of itself. And so what practical steps would you recommend to somebody who's looking to increase their influence after whether it's a major reinvention because it was because of something major that happened, or like myself, it was really just a 15-degree shift to do what it is that I'm doing now, but it was still reinvention. So what practical steps would you give to someone that is looking to really have greater influence after they've had some level of reinvention?
Wow. So I think vision is your compass. It's your North Star. It's where you're going. And the Bible even says that without a vision, the people perish. That's the most common version that we hear. But there's another translation that says, when the people cannot see what God is doing, they stumble all over themselves. And I feel like that speaks to most of us as women, as leaders, as creators, as catalysts. Like, what am I doing? How am I going to do it? You're never really going to know 100%. But here's what you can know. What impact do I want to have?
Right.
When we think of influence, we shouldn't even think of reach just yet. We should think of value.
Yeah.
What value do I want to bring? And when you said ecosystem, I was like, that sounds really good. And you're like, that's the language I gave you. I said that.
You said that.
Here's the thing. When you're giving value, you don't always even remember what you've given because it's coming from a place of service.
Yeah.
So the question is, what value do you want to give? I went through reinvention in this last 12 months. I've been in the space for 14 years and I've built, I've had multi seven-figure paydays. I've made $2 million in an hour before. And when you've done that, you can think, well, this is what I should keep doing. But there
Yeah.
comes a point where it feels too small and it doesn't quite fit anymore. So then it's, where do I belong? But how do you leave behind what is paying you exceptionally well? That's created life-changing income. That's created your opportunity to be in a house that's beyond your dreams. Those types. How do you reinvent from that? And why would you?
Right.
I don't feel, this is the language that I'm now just finding for myself. I didn't think I could articulate it until now. Um, I have not felt like I'm offering the level of value that I'm born for.
Mm.
My level of capacity for the level of launching women into a different level of life cannot be done, could not be done with what I've always done. And you can look around this industry and see women who have been able to grow and create businesses that are still here. I think for me, longevity is what I'm most grateful and proud of. That I've not been a microwave company where people come in for a few days and it's a very transactional thing where it's just about these testimonials, these results. That's not what
Right.
I want to be known for. That's also influence. So the question is, what is the value you bring and you desire to bring when you think about influence. And if it is time to reinvent or to edit or to evolve, it may not be a full-blown reinvention, it could be an elevation. Is it because there's a new level of value? And is there a new identity? I mean, I had 3 babies in 6 minutes. You want to talk about stepping in during a pandemic while my mom was progressing in her wellness state. I don't like to necessarily talk about it just because I feel like it's her story, not mine. Um, and then, losing my father, raising kids, thinking I was going to have these parents. So I am still discovering like what my bandwidth is now, but what is driving me is what value. What do I want to be known for? That's the second thing I think we've got to ask ourselves as women. This should be what's driving strategy, not the recycled BS. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what else the word is, but the recycled garbage of let me do what this person has done. Here's a strategy on how you can make money. That is so masculine. And it is also very worldly. For women
Yeah.
who feel called by calling, then you have to step into attunement with who's called you. What worth has he placed in you? What message has he placed in your heart, in your mind, and in your mouth? What value do you have? Are you actually able to operate at the level of who you actually are? Because without that, now you may make some money, but you won't necessarily have impact. You'll feel bored with it eventually.
Yeah.
And I think it also contributes to mental health issues when you're out of alignment with your science and your only following strategy. But the strategy we should do, we know to carry. And that's going to take bravery. It took courage to close down a membership where I had 1,400 women join in 3. Are we still going?
Yes.
We had it froze for just a second. I just want to make sure we were still going. But courage to step into your worth and ultimately your voice. Influence is about your voice or nothing at all. All the other things, corporate, speaking, media, all those things I've done. But the things that I've done are not because of strategy. No one would have told me as a business, a high-end business coach, to write a book called Believe Bigger about belief versus about sales or
Yeah.
offers. And so this is about being led. And that's where the influence has really been something that I can be proud of. And that changes people's lives, not just their pockets. It changes their whole life. And that's how I want to be known for. And I hope that's the type of influence that I have and that I have at another level at this stage.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to discuss something that I know probably almost everyone, but if not everyone, the large majority of my listeners are actually experiencing. So we'll be right back. Ready to turn your influence into income? Take the Influence Growth Assessment. In just minutes, you'll uncover the next steps to grow your visibility, attract bigger opportunities, and boost your profitability. Visit myinfluencestyle.com to take the assessment today. A new era of success is waiting. Let's make it yours. All right, welcome back. So we have Marshawn Evans Daniels here, and we're discussing all things reinvention. So, Marshawn, my gut tells me that reinvention can be more difficult when you're established. And you started talking about this a little bit more when you have done great things, you've made a great income, you've affected a lot of people's lives, and you're now feeling that it's now time, God needs you to lead somewhere different. There's something, there's a next level for you, whatever that is, or however women define that. And so, what advice would you give to someone that's really hesitant to lean into reinvention when they're tied to like their current identity or success?
It's interesting. I think that the reason it can be harder to reinvent is because you know too much.
Yeah.
You can be full of strategy, you've got experience with what worked, and you actually think that you're doing something, but if you're not having to operate with any level of real courage or faith, then you're doing nothing at all. You're living in a comfort zone that was it took work. It was once a glory zone because it took work to get you to get to where you are. But your glory zone will turn back into a comfort zone when you're being asked to live higher. And then the real question is, what is your idol? Has the version of yourself, the life that you've built, the business that you have, has that now become an idol that you're not willing to break up with?
Yeah.
And I think this is where you start seeing difficulty and obstacles in your business. It may feel like grace has left it, but God will take what was once soil and turn it into dirt to get you to move. That's how you escape your Egypt, to step into your promised land. You've got to wander again, which is not comfortable. I don't like this. I don't know exactly what I'm doing, kind of thing. But this is breaking up with a version of yourself that is blocking where you're born to be next. What you want to go after is not even look at this as reinvention as much as it is destiny.
Mm,
Destiny will require a series of reinventions. But destiny is what you're born for. It's what you're made for. And with the strategy, it's going to be easy for it to be what you're paid for too.
yeah, that's so good. You are such a wealth of knowledge. But before we wrap up and before we tell the women how they can take things further with you, what would be your parting words that you would leave the women of the influence economy with?
Wow. I think that it's a few things. I think that women are multifaceted. So I think it's important for us to take care of ourselves. Let me just start with that. We are in a generation where we are first generation women with the opportunity to build influence and wealth and opportunity the way that our mothers and our grandmothers didn't have, right? So with that, we want to first and foremost be women who take care of ourselves, who value even following after your dream is a version of self-care.
Mm,
But you've got to have the mental wherewithal and the feeling of worthiness. And sometimes that comes by making sure you got your doctor's appointments, like the basics of some things that we let go in the hustle and grind. Second, take care of your mental health. This industry and the internet is lying to you every day about how awesome everybody else's lives are. It is lying to you. It's designed to lie to you to keep you addicted to thinking that you're not enough so that you'll keep coming back to get the dopamine hit that gives you this glimpse. It always makes you feel worse. And then get in community, find a mentor, invest in a mentor. If you really want to go fast, invest.
yeah,
And also give yourself permission to have a vision outside of your previous life, to be beyond your resume, to trust revelation more than rules, and also to uh, be okay with leaving those behind that don't not just don't serve you, that just aren't there for this next season.
yeah.
But go out and build something, execute and finish, and charge an excellent amount for it, more than what you're comfortable with, because it's what you're worthy of.
That's right. So she is an excellent coach, you guys. She's an excellent mentor. There's a reason why I've been with her for, I guess this is going on year 13 now. Is that, yeah, 12? Yeah, I'm not good at math. I was a
I'll
science.
say though, on and off, right? On
Off
and
and
off.
on. Yeah,
I think that's important because I don't believe in building cults. I believe in community. And if
correct.
you have values, I think this industry though does do this whole hoarding, like you are mine. And that's why I'm humbled when you say that, because I'm just grateful to be a part of anybody's life and their journey. I also want that style quiz or assessment that you said, what's your influence style? So I want to learn from you on that as well. But I just wanted to say that I think that it's an honor when you can build a business and live your life in such a way that people trust you for over a decade
Yeah,
in different seasons of their life, and decide when you're thinking about who you want to be. What kinds of things do you want the people who you've worked with to say about you? Because that's real influence. The Bible says, let another man praise you and not your own words.
yeah,
And I actually envision that when I write my books, when I get ready to produce a product, when I get ready to produce a launch or a course or something new. I'm like, what do I want people to come back and be appreciative? What do I want them to say? And how do I need to invest in myself to be the type of woman who's capable of having other women say that about me?
yeah.
I appreciate those words from you.
Absolutely. So, for the women that are listening that want to take things further with you, they want to be more, but they want to make more. What
Mhm.
can you offer them that they can take things further with you?
Well, I need to learn from you about podcasting. So let me say that. But for when it comes to building, for me right now, I'm focused on brand elevation. You can join me at marshawn.com/moolah. And it is a complimentary resource that walks you through how you can make 6 figures in 60 minutes, but also how you can make 7 figures in a day. And the things that I believe are the most important to be able to create scalable income or to make moolah, if you will, are in that. And it gives you an opportunity to be connected to our community. Fair warning, this girl loves God. And so I believe that when you have holy audacity, what I also call Godfidence, is where you really are in the mind of God and everything from heaven is prosperous. And so I love to talk about both faith and business and help to develop the spiritual identity that helps you to have unlimited life-changing income.
And what y'all should know is that even her complimentary stuff is highly, highly valuable. And she's much like myself, and like, there's not going to be a lot of fluff. There's not going to be a lot of, like she's really going to just get straight to here's how you make moolah. So the link to that will be in the show notes so that you guys can take advantage of that. And if they want to follow you on socials, where do you hang out at most?
I am on Instagram with my Texas accent since you're in Texas right now. On Instagram, I'm Marshawn Evans, Marshawevans, Marshawn Evans. And I'm Marshawn.com, but Marshawn Evans on all social media from before I got married. But
Yes. Well, I'm going to make sure that the links to all that is in the show notes so that all they have to do is click it. They don't have to go back and be like, what did she say? And how do you spell Marshawn and all the
I give
things.
one
So
resource recommendation to everyone.
please, please.
So I am also author. I have some books. I think that for many women who are reinventing, written the manual on this, and it's a book called Believe Bigger. It's
Mhm.
published by Simon and Schuster. I've done book deals with half of the big six publishers in the world. And Believe Bigger is perfect if you've enjoyed this conversation that Shayna and I have had, for you to understand where you are, because these 5 stages of divine reinvention are largely about the last stage is influence. The last stage is influence. So with what Shane is teaching you of how to build an empire around your message and to create media and visibility will require this different dimension of identity. And I believe Bigger will help you. And if you're wanting to grow your walk with God at the same time, 100 days of believing bigger. So you
Yep.
see my face back there. That's the book, Believe Bigger. But 100 days of believing bigger will give you that time for you to put your oxygen mask on yourself, and you're going to get clarity during these 100 days of devotions that will give you the content for your podcast, that will give you the identity shift, to give you the courage and the boldness to be more seen and be heard, but also for heaven to tell you why you matter for such a time as this.
Absolutely. Highly recommend. I've read Believe Bigger 4 times, and I've done
Mm.
100 Days of Believing Bigger 3 times.
Right.
And my husband said he's getting ready to start reading Believe Bigger as well. So I will make sure that the link to that for the audio, it's believebigger.com. You can go there and get access to all of the Believe Bigger resources as well. So, Marshawn, thank you so much for being here. Everyone, share, share, share this episode with every woman that you know wants to turn her visibility into profitability. I hope that this episode has blessed you and that you will consider going back and listening to previous and future episodes as well. Everyone, have a great day. Bye bye.